Limehouse TV back with the final interview of Celluloid Screams 2022. We're just here with Andy Mitten, director of The Harbinger. Loved your movie. You want to tell us a little bit about how it came around? I know that you shot it during lockdown, so you had to like deal, or was it just after lockdown, or like during that kind of time you had to deal with the problems that brings to a film set?
Yes, 2020 I was just another person whose plans were canceled. So we had another movie we were hoping to do, and when it fell apart, my producing partner Richard King and I were looking for something that was safe to shoot. I'd been wanting to do a horror movie that dealt with nightmares for a long time, and I was having a really bad bout of nightmares, which is unusual for me. And I've always been afraid of like the plague doctor image, and that seemed like a good thing to sort of bring into the fold at that point. So we used actually Jacob's Ladder as our like tonal touchstone,
Okay.
and we built this story that we could do all in New York. We used all the theater actors who were stuck at home because theater had completely shut down in New York City, and since my degree's in theater, that worked out really well, and we went out and shot it just about 4 or 5 months after I wrote it. So it was a very propulsive, inspired process. We shot it in snowy Binghamton, New York in February 2021, and yeah, it was a wonderful collaborative experience, even through all the masks and COVID testing and everything else we had to do.
And what was really nice about it is that even though it's like shot during COVID, it's lockdown, it's set amongst lockdown, but it's no different to a film that's like set during World War II, but is about nothing to do with World War II. It just happens to be set at that time. It kind of just like paints it just paints the picture of where the film's set, but it doesn't use lockdown as too much of a focus of the story. But the paranoia that it brings with like people like paranoid about wearing masks and quarantining and all that stuff, I really liked how you played into that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was exactly the hope. That I didn't want to write about it directly on the nose. I think it's a story that could exist.
You didn't want to make COVID zombies.
No, no one wanted COVID zombies. I wanted a story that might exist outside of the time, but like any other kind of historical setting you might choose, that the setting elevates the themes of the story. It's sort of the gasoline in the engine rather than the engine itself. And that's, we knew it was a risk taking on anything to do with the pandemic, but I just think, it's rare for globally all of us to share a dread and to share an experience. So I don't think it will, anything pandemic will be dated. I think just like any other World War, whatever, or any other time you might choose, I think it will continue to be a choice people make for their stories going forward 10, 20 years.
Definitely relatable. Like obviously we're in England, we're not in America where this film's set, but the conversations people were having, the way that people are acting, the paranoia, it was still something that we could 100% relate to because we'd been through it obviously, even though it was the other side of the world. So it's good that, that you're saying that's what you wanted, and I felt that even though it was set in a completely different country, just the era that it was set, it was still relatable in that way.
That's good to hear.
And do you know, like when you obviously had a plan to make a film, and then that went kaput because of COVID, so you decided to make this other film. You're obviously the kind of director that like deals with an issue and then like thinks on your feet and thinks, okay, how can we utilize that? You was having nightmares at the time. That's like a silver lining that you wrote into a script. Do you know, like when you're making a film, obviously as someone who's like worked a lot on stuff, how do you approach problems when you get hit with them during filming? Because we all, as filmmakers, we all get hit with those problems. What's like your advice to someone when they get hit with that like curveball?
Yeah, it's exactly how I refer to it. Yeah, independent filmmaking, the curveball is coming every single day. My theory on that is I plan like crazy, just knowing that plan might go out the window. But if you know why you made that initial plan, you can look at your new circumstances and you can find something, with the same impetus. And if you have good people beside you, and I had a great team, Ludo Isadori as my DP and Siu Lin, my production designer. Everyone was on the same page. So when indeed the curveballs came every day, we do what we do as independent filmmakers. We use those constraints to find something better. You get surprised by the new idea that comes. And ultimately, I think of my job as more than anything as like a sort of culler of ideas, and you have to be humble. Take the best ideas in the room, even if they come from the PA who brought you a coffee, and you have to be constantly listening and running with it. And we had a great warm, fertile environment to work in. So I think there were a lot of moments in the movie that came out of those constraints and came out of plans, going out the window. And those are some of the moments you end up most proud of and excited by.
All the directors I've spoke to this weekend, even they always say like that's when you can get like the magic. That's when the magic can come through with the stuff that you didn't plan and just spontaneously on the spot. You end up creating something and it ends up being one of your favorite shots in the movie. Would you agree that's something that you've experienced yourself?
It's a great feeling, and it's part of the thrill of doing it. You know, it's why I love. I mean, not that I wouldn't love a slightly bigger budget. Don't get me wrong, but I've really thrived on those boundaries, and I think they force people to think outside of the box, to stay on your toes, and that combination. I think the more you plan, the more you can be really loose in the moment.
Being too comfortable can sometimes be not a good thing.
I think so. I mean, I'd like to try it one day. We'll see.
Oh yeah, no, it'd always be nice.
Yes.
In terms of your directing style, like you said, you come from indie film and stuff. Would you say that you're like quite a hands-on director? Like, how would you describe your directing style? Do you like to take a step back and let the crew do their thing, or are you very much like to have a hand in everything?
I'm definitely I believe in a calm center. I let my first AD do the urgency. I think people appreciate feeling like a calm, steady hand on set. That said, I'm not stuck at the monitor. I like to be up there with my actors whenever I can be next to the camera and engaging with them. Like I just think that the acting, especially on these budget levels, are the most important thing. They tend to be what brings a film, up above the film next to it, is just that the actor's ability to pop through and make you want to follow them. So since we all came from theater and sort of share a vocabulary that way, I really, I like to learn what every actor needs and have a different relationship with all of them, because they all kind of get there a little differently. So in that way, I'm front-footed Fernando. Sorry, I had to do it.
Is it we spoke to him earlier? It's cool.
I'm in that way. I'm very hands-on and front-footed. Since I'm someone who came from that background instead of from a film school background. Technically, I do. I give more license to my DP, to my gaffer, to people to. I trust them to set it up before I get in their way and start. Turning those dials. So I'm pretty actor first and actor focused.
Well, whatever it does really works, and you had a great reception here at Celluloid. How have you found the weekend?
Oh my God, I've had the best time.
Had a good time.
It's such a warm, friendly environment. I love festivals that are driven by the community and driven by what you feel like the pure love of cinema here. Some festivals are driven by press or they all feel different, but it's a really unique setup here to have the cinema and then the bar and the showroom and everyone sort of together the whole time. You get to know people much easier.
For sure.
And for me, who's sort of like more of an introverted director, it's been much easier for me to really engage with the festival. I've had just the best weekend. I'm so grateful they brought me out.
It's really good to hear. We've loved having you here. Just before we wrap this up, what's next?
I don't know. I think I'm too jaded to say anything absolutely specific.
I know you can never say too much.
I can't, but I have the movie we were going to shoot, which is called Walk With Me Into the Darkness, is in a very early stage of development. It's sort of a cosmic horror thing that takes place in a solar flare.
Sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so I'm hoping that's the next thing. But I've got like a voodoo doll movie in a high school. I've got like a haunted high-rise thing I'm excited about. Like a lot of people for the pandemic, it was like a good solid writing period for me.
They all sound like movies that you're just making for me. I can't wait to see them. In terms of Harbinger, like I said, we really enjoyed it. For anybody that weren't here this weekend and didn't have a chance to see it, when can we get that on streaming and on demand and that kind of thing? Is there a date for that kind of stuff?
Well, in the UK, I don't want to get ahead of the press release, but I know that we will have distribution. I don't know what the dates are, but I know it won't be long. I think it will. I think it will even be this winter. In America, our date is December 1st, where we have a limited theatrical. So I think it should follow pretty closely on the heels.
Nice Christmas movie, lots of snow.
Lots of snow, yes.
Thank you so much. Like I'm not just saying it, we really did enjoy your movie. It was one of our favourites of the whole weekend. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
Andy
much.
Mitten
Oh my
on
God.
Slimehouse TV here at Celluloid Screams. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Boom.